Okay, y'all, I never thought I'd say this, but here in Huntsville, Alabama, we are certainly regretting our votes for Trump now. Look, y'all, we just got this letter from the electric company that says because of a Trump executive order rolling back Biden-era legislation that our electric bill is going to go up $100 a month because of what Trump did. Now, this man ran on bringing prices down for us, bringing grocery prices down, bringing energy costs down, housing, insurance, and none of that has happened at all. This is literally crazy. I mean, it's almost like the Democrats were telling the truth the whole time and the Republicans have just been lying nonstop.
Alabama voted for Trump 3 elections in a row, and now the bills are literally showing up in the mailbox. We're talking $100 utility surcharge, SNAP benefits frozen, Medicaid on the chopping block, and a graduation ceremony turned political flashpoint. Welcome back to Mind Mirror. Let's get into it.
The response to Trump saying he was going to give the graduation address at the University of Alabama this year elicited quite the response from Alabama's college Democrats. They said in response to this news, quote, "We are shocked and disgusted to learn that our unpopular, divisive, and authoritarian president will be involved in commencement for the graduating class of 2025. This insult will not go unanswered." The last time the disgraced criminal visited campus, he was able to turn the Alabama-Georgia game, the biggest college football game on our campus in years, into a political sideshow. We cannot allow this to happen with our commencement ceremonies. For all his meddling in University of Alabama affairs, Trump lost our campus to former Vice President Kamala Harris last semester. UA is not a fascist playground. The Trump administration kidnapped one of our PhD students for no reason a few weeks ago and is holding him without bond at an ICE black site in Louisiana. There is no greater insult than this. We simply don't want UA.
The Alabama College Democrats dropping a full press release over a graduation speech in Alabama of all places. And honestly, the detail that gets me is the PhD student sitting in an ICE black site in Louisiana. That's not political theater. That's somebody's life on hold. The commencement outrage is one thing, but that detail is the real story buried in the middle of the statement.
To be turned into a backdrop for MAGA propaganda. UA College Democrats and its partners are actively mobilizing in response to last night's news. We will have more updates in the next few days. Alabama College Democrats saying this insult will not go unanswered.
Alabama, which of course we know as a red state, their main digital newspaper has the following on its front page: how Trump's presidency could hurt Alabama. Federal program cuts hit us harder than most. Alabama is more reliant on federal programs like food assistance and Medicaid than most states. Let's zoom into this article by Mike Kasson, but let's also reflect on the fact that about 66% of Alabama voters ended up supporting Donald Trump. I'm not a big fan of the F around and find out type of content, because ultimately the find out part is suffering for human beings, and I don't like to see human beings suffer. At the same time, I think it is newsworthy, noteworthy, and just a little bit perplexing how so many people just vote against their interest. I mean, the people in the red state of Alabama and their politicians, they're railing against the government, they're railing against Medicaid, they're railing against all these things when their citizens are benefiting it more than blue states are, like by far, and that by screwing over these government programs, you're screwing over your people. Just take a look at this article. It says 65 or 66% of voters in Alabama supported the return of Trump to the White House. The third straight election, he carried Alabama in a landslide. When Trump takes office on January 20th, he will have the backing of Republican majorities in the House and the Senate to carry out his ideas. So what will the second term look like, and how will it impact Alabama? And I think this is important.
Here's the thing that genuinely puzzles me about this. The information was never hidden. It was right there in plain sight. Every policy proposal, every budget outline, every economist who looked at the numbers said the same thing. Cutting federal programs hurts the states that depend on them most, and Alabama depends on them more than almost anywhere in the country. Medicaid, food assistance, utility support, all of it. So when 66% of voters pull the lever anyway, 3 elections in a row, You have to ask yourself, is this about policy at all? Or is something else entirely driving these decisions? Because if it's not about the money, what is it about?
Others say ideas floated by Trump, his advisors, and the GOP-led Congress, like slashing federal programs, would be damaging in Alabama, a state that depends more on federal assistance than most. No plan for health care. During his first term, Trump called for the repeal of the Affordable Care Act, Obama's signature initiative, but that effort failed.
We love a great FAFO moment, and I have another one for you. First, some background. 65% of the state of Alabama voted for Donald Trump. Alabama is in the top 10 poorest states in the United States related to federal poverty level. While many of these voters sit behind their computers and celebrate Elon Musk cutting waste, little did they know it was going to impact them. This week, over 250 residents in Huntsville, Alabama received a notice from their electric company that they were going to have to pay an additional $100 surcharge. The explanation for this was that Donald Trump's recent executive order ended a $1 million grant to the utilities company to help these customers pay for their electric bill. Leaders in Alabama are furious because they said this is counterintuitive to Donald Trump's promise to lower energy costs. Tots and pears.
I believe totally in your freedoms. I do. You got to do what you have to do. But I recommend take the vaccine.
Nothing drives these fucking...
And he just casually ends the story like, yeah, they probably got vaccinated, no big conclusion, no victory lap, just a guy who figured out that meeting people inside their own logic gets further than standing outside it throwing facts at them. This works in politics, in relationships, in sales, in literally any human interaction. The lesson here is stop trying to win the argument and start trying to understand the framework the other person is operating from. Once you're inside the framework, you can actually move things.
Trump is crazier than this goddamn vaccine. It's hilarious to see how they make logic of things. If you've seen a couple of my posts, you'll see that I like shooting guns. It's controversial, but I'm not a gun nut. I just like shooting them for sports. But it gives me access to talking with a lot of these yahoos on the gun ranges. And as a hobby, I just like going to these places and playing Republican for a day. They truly think I'm one of them. So I get into character.
The undercover gun range bit is genuinely one of the most creative things I've seen. He didn't argue with facts. He didn't lecture. He didn't bring a chart. He just rewired the conspiracy to point toward the correct behavior. Told them the deep state was hiding the vaccine from Republicans specifically, and suddenly guys are calling their friends over to listen. That's not manipulation. That's understanding how the brain actually processes threat. People don't change their minds through logic. They change through identity. Make the vaccine the thing your tribe is being denied. And suddenly everyone wants it. Honestly, this dude did more public health work in one afternoon than 100 press briefings.
And change my shit up. It's hard to spot them sometimes because you will get like normal Republicans, if they even exist. But then you get like the hardcore Trumpers. I'm shooting at 200 yards with my rifle and I see a guy with an AR-15 besides me. And I speak their language when it comes to the Second Amendment, so it's very easy to spot a Trumper. So I look at the guy and his rifle and I'm like, hey, that's a pistol brace. You're shouldering that like a short battle rifle. I hear that you might get in trouble with the ATF. They classify them as a NFA weapon, class 3. The guy looks at me. Fuck the ATF. Looks like we got one. So I'm like, yeah, these fucking communists, right? The guy's like, yeah, they ain't taking my guns from me. So I go and dig deeper. Hey, listen, what do you think of this pandemic? The guy looks at me. Well, we all know this is some bullshit. And I'm like, right. These fucking lip-turds are lying about everything. You know how it is with them. And I'm like, yeah, brother, I hear you. But listen, I want to offer an alternative theory. You want to hear it? The guy's like, yeah, what's happening? Listen, I think that this shit was made at the Wuhan lab over in China and it was sent to us to kill us, right? And the guy's like, well, yeah, we all know that. And I was like, yeah, but here's the trick. They telling us that this is an mRNA vaccine, but I think it's just a fucking normal vaccine that saves people. You know fucking Fauci is a liar, right? Right. Yeah, what they're doing is they're lying to us, telling us that this vaccine may cause side effects. But in reality, I think it fucking saves people. But they're not telling us so that Republicans won't take it. That way, we all die from COVID. The guy's like, God damn it. But I didn't think about it that way. So I was like, listen, dude, let me tell you something. I took the fucking vaccine. I thought I was going to die. But then all my Republican friends got sick and I didn't. So I'm thinking these fucking demon rats are hiding this shit from us so that we don't take it. So I think we should take it. The guy's like, hey, Ricky, come here and listen to this guy for a second. So I'm like, yeah, think about it. Wouldn't China be able to kill us if they knew we weren't going to take the vaccine and all die? So yeah, I think we should take it. So us patriots need to stay alive for this shit. The guy's like, yeah, I'm going to think about this one. You might be right. So yeah, if you two idiots are out there in Fort Collins and remember me, you took the mRNA vaccine if you did. But don't worry, you won't die. Que tenga buen día.
Okay, y'all, I never thought I'd say this, but here in Huntsville, Alabama, we are certainly regretting our votes for Trump now. Look, y'all, we just got this letter from the electric company that says because of a Trump executive order rolling back Biden-era legislation that our electric bill is going to go up $100 a month because of what Trump did. Now, this man ran on bringing prices down for us, bringing grocery prices down, bringing energy costs down, housing, insurance, and none of that has happened at all. This is literally crazy. I mean, it's almost like the Democrats were telling the truth the whole time and the Republicans have just been lying nonstop. I know that's completely crazy to even say because Republicans have always been a beacon of truth. But yeah, this letter has me so pissed off that I'm never going to vote Republican again. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure we flip the House in April. That's what we need to do now because Republicans have just been lying to us to get our votes. Isn't that crazy?
Breaking news, a new poll released.
She almost couldn't finish that sentence. You could hear her catching herself, like the realization was happening in real time on camera. And that's actually what a genuine political awakening sounds like. It's not a protest. It's not a viral rant. It's somebody standing in their kitchen, holding a piece of mail going, wait, $100 a month, every month, because a Grant got killed by executive order. She voted for cheaper energy and got the exact opposite delivered to her mailbox. And the fact that she said it out loud matters, because a lot of people in that same situation are still too proud to admit it.
Based out of Alabama today shows that 100% of MAGA voters support Donald Trump's initiative to remove DEI from the government. When asked what DEI was, though, however, 75% of them said that is where black people and gays in dresses get jobs over white people. When explained that that was not exactly what DEI was, that it was actually a service in which it could help handicapped people who needed certain kinds of accessory tools. Maybe if they're deaf, they might need an interpreter. They then said, oh, you mean the broken people? We should get rid of them too.
You may be one of hundreds of thousands.
That response, oh, you mean the broken people? That one line tells you everything. Because DEI, in this case, wasn't about hiring quotas or diversity seminars. It was about a deaf person getting an interpreter so they can actually do their job. It was about a wheelchair ramp, a screen reader, basic access, and the immediate instinct was to eliminate it. There are veterans in that voter base. There are people on disability in those same counties, and they're cheering for the removal of programs that directly serve them. This is what happens when you train people to hate a label so completely that they stop asking what's actually inside it.
Thousands of people in Alabama who can't put food on the table this month. There are over 750,000 families in the state who face this reality. I'm Megan Plotka, a reporter with AL.com. SNAP, food stamps, EBT, whatever you want to call it, it's suspended. And in total, that's $140 million in groceries that's not available for Alabamians this month. The Trump administration announced it will partially fund SNAP. 2 federal judges ruled that the program must keep running. It's not clear how much money will show up on your card this month. 15% of us rely on the money to feed their families. In some counties, that number is even higher. That's the black belt that we're talking about. We're talking about 4 in 10 people in places like Wilcox County that depend on food stamps. We're also talking about Greene, Perry, Dallas, and Lowndes counties. They have similar rates. And contrary to popular belief, fewer Alabamians are actually using SNAP than they did a decade ago. So why is this all happening? Politicians, they're in a standoff right now over healthcare tax credits. They're set to expire at the end of this year. That partial SNAP funding is supposedly headed our way, but it could take up to 2 weeks for you to see new money in your account this month. But your community is stepping up. You want to click on the article in the caption to see ways that they're filling the gaps and how you can help too.
I say this, but here in Huntsville, Alabama, we are certainly regretting our votes for Trump now. Look, y'all, we just got this letter from the electric company that says because of a Trump executive order rolling back Biden-era legislation that our electric bill is going to go up $100 a month because of what Trump did. Now, this man ran on bringing prices down for us, bringing grocery prices down, bringing energy costs down, housing, insurance, and none of that has happened at all. This is literally crazy. I mean, it's almost like the Democrats were telling the truth the whole time and the Republicans have just been lying nonstop. I know that's completely crazy to even say because Republicans have always been a beacon of truth. But, yeah, this letter has me so pissed off that I'm never going to vote Republican again. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure we flip the House in April. That's what we need to do now because Republicans have just been lying to us to get our votes. Isn't that crazy?
Alabama residents are going to see a $100 increase in their utility bill directly because of Donald Trump's policies. But the best part, the utility company is sending them letters letting them know it's Donald Trump's fault. Now, this is in Huntsville, Alabama, and Huntsville Utilities sent a letter to some of its customers letting them know this. You could pause if you need to, but they are going to receive a $100 increase because the grant that reduced their bill by $100 is being rescinded by Donald Trump. Yeah, they're letting them know this is Donald Trump's fault. We're not taking the hit for this. Now, Donald Trump promised people that he would cut utility bills in half in the first 12 months. And instead, these people in Huntsville, Alabama, a deep red state, are going to see an increase by $100. The worst part, these are the poorest among us. These are people that desperately need this, so they don't have to make a decision between lights or food. And Donald Trump is taking that away. The man who campaigned on lowering costs are making them go up. And now people know, beyond a shadow of doubt, it's his fault.
We have some huge news right now that broke overnight that everyone needs to know about because Louisiana's Republican governor is set to announce the cancellation of the upcoming May 16th elections, even though voting has already begun, so that he can redraw the congressional maps and eliminate 2 black majority districts to disenfranchise black voters in the state of Louisiana. This is simply unheard of. Absentee ballots have already gone out. Early voting begins any minute now. And Governor Jeff Landry, according to the Washington Post, will announce on Friday the cancellation of elections so that they can redraw the congressional maps, eliminate the black majority districts, and then hold the elections again at a later date before November. Here's the problem. The primary elections have already begun. Ballots have already gone out. People have already voted. And so they're literally about to cancel people's votes and cancel the election. Is this legal?
Ballots already mailed, early voting already underway, and the move is just cancel it, not postpone for a technical issue, not pause for a legal challenge, cancel it specifically to redraw maps and eliminate black majority districts. And they're not even being subtle about the reason. The election integrity crowd, the voter ID crowd, the Save America crowd wants to toss out an election mid-process because the current map doesn't produce the outcome they want. That's not a voting rights position. That's a power position. The rules only apply when they're writing them.
No one knows, but everyone needs to know about it. Spread the word, follow for more.
A lot of politicians say they believe in voter ID, but do they really? Because I'm from Alabama and I've seen some things. The Save America Act is a sort of national voter ID bill. Tommy Tuberville says he's for it. So does Katie Brett. And of course, this guy. But should we believe them? First, let's consider the curious case of John Wall. Until very recently, Wall was the chairman of the Alabama Republican Party. While he served in that role, on at least 2 occasions, he voted with an ID he made himself. 2 Republican Alabama secretaries of state have said it did not meet the requirements of Alabama's voter ID law. Sound odd? We're just getting started. Alabama poll workers raised concerns about that ID, including Clyde Martin. And what happened to him? In an email, Wall asked election officials to remove Martin as a poll worker, which they did. Wall admitted to me that he made the ID himself. Since then, 2 Alabama secretaries of state have forwarded complaints to prosecutors. And what happened then? Nothing. Did Alabama Republican officials like Britt or Tuberville question whether Wall should remain party chairman? Heck no. Instead, Wall was chosen to serve as vice chairman of the National Republican Party after all this came out. And there's more. As it turns out, Wall did have a driver's license when he was voting in those elections, only it was a Tennessee driver's license. Wall says he considered moving there.
Let's just sit with this for a second. The chairman of the Alabama Republican Party voted with an ID. He built himself, had a Tennessee license, was registered in 2 states under 2 completely different names. Poll workers flagged it. He had one of them removed from their post. Prosecutors were notified. Nothing happened. And then he was elevated to vice chairman of the National Republican Party after all of this was public knowledge. This is the man championing voter ID laws. And the deeper thing here is what this reveals about how these laws actually function. They were never designed to catch everyone equally. They were designed as a filter, and who gets caught in the filter depends entirely on who's holding it. The law as written versus the law as applied. Those are 2 completely different things, and Alabama just handed us a perfect case study.
But never did full time. He also registered to vote there under the name Nehemiah Ezekiel Wall, a name he never used on any official Alabama document that I could find. He has since changed his name on Alabama's voter rolls and now is running as Nehemiah John Wall for Alabama Lieutenant Governor. And guess who endorsed him? Yep, this guy. Mr. Save America with voter ID endorsed a guy who voted with an ID he made himself at least twice and who was once registered to vote in 2 different states under 2 different names. It's not that hard to imagine what might have happened had Alabama's Democratic Party chairman done the same things. Because no matter what any of us think about voter ID, for laws to act as laws, they must apply the same to everybody. Otherwise, they're just legal weapons for people in power to deploy against people they don't like, which seems to be happening a lot lately. So ask yourself, do the folks behind the SAVE Act really believe in voter ID, or is this something else?
So we watched Alabama voters get hit with a $100 utility surcharge, SNAP benefits in limbo for 750,000 families, a graduation turned into a political battleground, and the chairman of the state Republican Party voting with an ID. He literally made himself while championing voter ID laws for everyone else. The pattern here isn't hard to see. The people most dependent on federal programs keep voting for the people promising to cut them, and the people loudest about election integrity keep proving they only mean it for one side. So here's the question I want you to answer in the comments. At what point does the find out actually change the vote? Or does it? Drop your take below, like, share, and subscribe to Mind Mirror for more.